What if the darkest parts of you were your most valuable teachers? What if the very impulses you hide, the emotions you suppress, the thoughts you fear, were not signs of your brokenness, but of your buried potential? We live in a world obsessed with positivity. We're told to think happy thoughts, to just be grateful, to focus on the light. But deep down, something doesn't sit right, because beneath our smiles, there's a shadow, a restless, untamed force inside each of us, one we're taught to fear. But what if that shadow wasn't evil? What if it was the key to becoming fully, fiercely, unapologetically you? This is the radical insight of Carl Gustav Jung, one of the greatest minds of the 20th century. Today, we explore his haunting idea of the shadow self and how embracing it can change your life. Who was Carl Jung? Carl Jung wasn't just a psychiatrist. He was a soul mapper. Born in 1875 in Switzerland, Jung was trained as a doctor, worked under Sigmund Freud, and helped pioneer the field of psychoanalysis. But Jung quickly broke away from Freud's narrow focus on sexuality. He believed the human psyche was far deeper, more symbolic, and more spiritual than Freud imagined. Jung was fascinated by myths, religion, ancient symbols, dreams, and the recurring patterns that showed up in people's inner lives across cultures and time. He wanted to understand not just how we break, but how we heal, how we grow, how we become whole. He spent decades studying ancient wisdom, delving into alchemy, astrology, Eastern philosophy, Christianity, and the occult, not as superstition, but as metaphors of the inner world. His psychological theories were not dry charts and diagnoses. They were alive, mysterious, poetic, like the human soul itself. He gave us concepts we now take for granted: introvert and extrovert, archetypes, the collective unconscious, and individuation. But among his most piercing insights is the one we least want to hear: we all have a dark side. What is the shadow self? Imagine a child, wild, expressive, full of curiosity, emotion, and desire. Then imagine that child being told again and again, "Don't cry, don't get angry, don't be selfish, that's not nice, that's not polite, that's not acceptable." Each time the child hides a piece of themselves, not because they want to, but because they must, to be loved, to be safe, to belong. Over time, those hidden parts don't vanish. They go underground, into what Jung called the shadow. Jung defined the shadow as the unconscious part of the personality that contains everything the conscious ego doesn't want to admit. It includes our fears, our impulses, our shame, our hatred, but also our creativity, power, sexuality, confidence, even joy. It's not inherently evil. The shadow is not a monster. It's the container of everything you've rejected in yourself, whether because of shame, trauma, culture, or survival. It's your exiled self. And here's the twist: the more you repress it, the more power it gains. Your shadow doesn't stay quiet. It shows up in your relationships, in your addictions, in your rage, your apathy, your judgments of others. It leaks out. It takes the wheel when you're not looking. So Jung's challenge was clear: either face your shadow or be controlled by it. At first glance, the idea of embracing your dark side sounds dangerous. Why would you want to look at your anger, your jealousy, your shame? But Jung believed that facing the shadow wasn't indulgence. It was healing. Because whatever you refuse to feel, you cannot transform. Imagine this: a person who pretends they never get angry doesn't become peaceful. They become passive-aggressive. They lash out in subtle, sneaky ways. Or they explode unpredictably. Why? Because what you bury grows roots. When you embrace the shadow, you stop fighting yourself. You start seeing the root causes of your behavior. You begin to understand your triggers, your reactions, your wounds. And most importantly, you reclaim the gifts buried in your shadow, your strength, your boundaries, your passion, your truth. Jung once wrote, "The shadow is 90% pure gold." In other words, what you fear the most in yourself might be the very thing that will set you free. How do you meet your shadow? Facing the shadow is not a weekend project. It's a lifelong dance with the parts of you you'd rather not see. But Jung offered tools, and modern psychology has built on them. 1. Active imagination. This is a method Jung developed to dialogue with parts of your unconscious. You can journal, draw, or even have imaginary conversations with shadow figures from dreams. The idea is not to suppress or edit, but to allow what's hidden to speak. This often leads to surprising, even mystical insights. You begin to realize this darkness isn't just yours, it's universal. 2. Dream analysis. For Jung, dreams were sacred messages. Your shadow often appears in dreams as animals, strangers, attackers, or distorted versions of yourself. Instead of dismissing dreams as nonsense, Jung believed they were coded letters from your unconscious. The monsters in your dreams aren't enemies, they're parts of you asking to be seen. 3. Shadow work journaling. Ask yourself, what do I criticize most in others? Who do I envy, and why? What am I ashamed of? What emotions do I avoid? These are breadcrumbs. Each answer reveals a fragment of your shadow. Don't judge it. Don't fix it. Just witness it. That's where the alchemy begins. One of Jung's most powerful contributions was this: the goal of life is not perfection, it's wholeness. Perfection says, get rid of the bad parts. Wholeness says, bring all parts into the light. This is the process Jung called individuation, the lifelong journey of integrating the conscious and unconscious, the light and the dark, the ego and the soul. It's not about becoming a saint, it's about becoming real. Jung believed that suffering was not always a pathology. Often, it was the soul's cry for growth. Depression, anxiety, rage. These aren't just symptoms, they're signals. They point to what's been repressed, unloved, unheard. Healing comes not by escaping them, but by understanding their message. He wrote, "I'd rather be whole than good." That one sentence shatters centuries of moral conditioning. Wholeness includes your sins, your wounds, your dreams, your shadows. When you accept all of you, you stop needing the world to accept you. In the age of social media, filters, hustle culture, and toxic positivity, we are drowning in curated selves. Everyone's perfect, everyone's successful, everyone's happy. But beneath the surface, we're exhausted, anxious, disconnected, haunted by a feeling that we're not living our truth. This is why Jung's message is more relevant now than ever. We don't need more perfection. We need more depth, more honesty, more humanity. And that starts with embracing the shadow, not as a flaw, but as a doorway. So here's the question. What are you hiding from? What part of you have you locked away, hoping no one, not even you, would ever find it? That is your shadow. And it's not here to destroy you. It's here to liberate you. As Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But to do that, you have to meet the darkness and shake its hand